Hello, it's Lawrence from Calgary, Canada, and I thought I would do another video, an update on the 1961 Series 2 Land Rover. And I'm shooting this from Lawrnece, which is a wonderful space in Calgary that I work out of, and makes everything a whole lot easier with all the tools you need and a clean space. So anyway, but we'll go through this Land Rover, and we've just put the engine in it, and now we have all the other major components that are ready to be fitted, and I can just show you what we're doing. All right, turn this camera around. Okay, so we have the axles, and they have been disassembled. The axle casings have been sandblasted, and most of the parts in them, just about all of them, are new old stock. Okay, so new old stock swivel balls. You see the retaining seals, the correct fasteners with these, I'm not sure what you call those, not locking nuts, whatever they're, and new brakes and so on. So that's the front axle, and new ball joints, of course. There is the rear axle. And then we had the springs. They were in pretty good shape, so they were just sandblasted and then repainted, as were the suspension arms and the drive shafts. We have the front grille panel. I've got Lucas lights, which I'm going to switch out to these lights. Those are parts for the heater. This is the center PTO and the selector mechanism for the center PTO. This is the front capstan. So that's all been disassembled and cleaned up. And then we have all of the linkage pieces, which are pretty hard to find, actually. They might be like the hardest thing to find for a Land Rover. So we're getting all those sorted out, and those big alloy brackets are for a bar that goes on the front bumper. Okay, so we've got our radiator, and that is the original radiator that has been restored. We have the seats from Exmoor. We have the floor panels here, the battery tie-down. Steering wheel, still haven't got to that. The steering brackets for the seats. And we have a couple other odds and ends that have yet to go in. Okay, all right, so that's the front capstan plate, and that is going to fit, that just fits right in there, so we'll get that done. And we have the engine in situ, and we're just sorting out the linkage for the carbs. We can see the boxes for the clutch and the brake. And I left the bag on this thing because I always scratch them before the vehicle is done. The steering box was disassembled and cleaned up and resealed. These pieces here, I basically galvanized anything that could be galvanized. So the chassis wasn't galvanized originally. It would have been painted black, and so with most of those pieces. And in fact, the bulkhead was also galvanized and then painted after it was galvanized. Okay, if basically if the steel was thick enough and it didn't have any captive nuts in it, then it was galvanized. So basically everything in here has been recoated. It's either CAD plated. I did another video on that, but it's either CAD plated or galvanized or black zinc or something. Okay, so we see the engine in there, exhaust manifolds, new old stock. We cleaned up the intake manifold, the carburetor. They never came with Weber's, but it's a sensible modification. There's many other new old stocks parts. We're going to run the original generator, and it's been rebuilt. I have to change the nut on the end of the crank because that changes when you put the capstan in. And then we've got the Kodiak heater And that assembly, we can see a new fuel pump, a new distributor. We can see, well, the housing back there, slave cylinder, and of course all the brake lines are new throughout. Windscreen's been regalvanized. Hinges, they were painted originally, but we galvanized them here. And those side steps are new old stock. The exhaust is new old stock. If we go in the Rover, we can see a new stainless fuel tank from Pangolin. We have yet to put the PTO on the rear of the gearbox. It goes right in there, and we need to put the gear lever in there. That is the quadrant for the hand throttle, and I galvanized this toolbox. Normally it would be just painted, but it makes sense to galvanize that, I thought. We have the original wiper motors, which have been disassembled and cleaned up, and they work. And those are the vents for the heater. That's where the Kodiak heater pumps out or comes out of the bulkhead. And then we've got the air box that we have yet to fit. We still need a boot down there. And we've got all our seat belts mounted. I'm going to run these thick harnesses, if you can see them. But so we'll run those kind of aircraft style harnesses in the car. And we've got the roll bar, not a roll bar, but the bar for the seat belt anchors there. We can see the galvanized frame for the soft top. The soft top is from Exmoor, as are the seats. And we can see the seat box. I painted both sides of most of it. There's a few panels where I didn't, for one reason or another, but generally I painted both sides. Even though from the factory it would have just been painted on the top, it's just a bit easier to keep clean if you paint them the top and the bottom. The instruments are here, and they're waiting on a few items to install. We have new old stock shocks and axle check straps, and we have our brake lines that were put in. Back here, we're just figuring out a spare tire mounting system, because the spare tire sits a little bit back from the firewall now that we've got the bar for the seat belts. So working that out, it's got the rear bench seats in it, and there's all sorts of bracketry and so on that's yet to go in. That's the front valence panel. We're not going to use that because we have the Capstone now. The back of the vehicle, those were all NOS lights and an NOS side step. And what else can we show you? Basically, I plated anything that had a kind of a mechanism in it. I plated, and that's Silver Cat. And then we can see some other details here. Oh, I don't know why I galvanized the pedal, but I did. Gas pedal, but I did. And we can see the gearbox and the handbrake assembly and the toolbox. So I keep thinking there's 200 hours left, but then I do 100 hours and then there's another 200. So there always seems to be 200 hours to go. So I thought I might be able to do this Land Rover in 700 or 800 hours, but it doesn't look like that. It's more like 1,000 or 1,200 hours. I do have some help on it now, so I'm hoping it's going to go a little bit quicker. And all the parts are just about all complete. It just really needs to get bolted together. But as we go, we're running into this problem and that problem, and you know, still some parts are missing, despite my best effort to collect them over the last couple years. So that slows us down a little bit. But it's the beginning of June now. I'll be quite disappointed if it isn't done in July 2022. But who knows? These things have a way of just taking forever. So anyway, there you go. I thought you'd like an update on the 1961 Land Rover Series 2, brought to you from the lug nuts facility. And we just got a cryo blaster, so that's what's happening with this car. So that is a great added tool for, you know, a multitude of uses with new and used cars. Anyway, I don't need it on this car. But anyway, thanks for viewing, and hopefully the next video will have this car all together and running under its own power. Thank you very much. Lawrence Romanowski from Calgary, Canada. Please like and subscribe.